Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Camilla Mills and you're watching my first ever YouTube channel, so I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. I've actually been procrastinating this channel for about a year and a half now, so I'm actually really excited to get this started and extremely proud of myself for actually getting it together to get it done. And what better way to start that than now when we're all quarantined with absolutely nothing to do, right? Exactly. So just a little background information on myself so you know a tad bit more. I've always been interested in money, finances, credit, and my relationship with them. Ever since I was a kid, I understood the importance of credit while I was still in high school and even got my first credit card at the age of 18. I originally went to college for biology to be an obstetrician, but that clearly wasn't in line for me. So I changed my major and graduated with a financial planning degree for wealth management and currently working as a legal financial consultant. So in a nutshell, a lot of the videos that you'll see will mainly be about finances, whether it's credit, credit cards, debt, passive income, you name it, I will post it. So trust me when I say this is just the beginning. So the purpose of this video is really just to speak a little bit on the financial crisis that's happening right now in our country. So how exactly did we get to the point where millions of Americans are unable to pay for their bills on a monthly basis right now with no income coming in? In May of 2019, an article was printed stating that 58% of Americans were unable to cover a $1,000 unexpected expense without going into debt. In January of 2020, an article was then printed stating that 41% of Americans were able to cover a $1,000 expense. However, I'm sure a majority of us can agree that an unexpected expense can actually run a bit more than $1,000. Whether it's medical expenses, fixing up your car, your boiler unit, or a leaky roof. Anything along those lines can actually run you over a couple $1,000s. So how exactly are Americans funding for some of these emergency expenses? Some of us use credit cards, some of us use personal loans. So for individuals who are using credit cards or personal loans, the average APR on a credit card is about 17%, and the average APR on a personal loan is about 10%. So in reality, using a credit card to cover a $5,000 expense at an APR of 17%, we're talking $200 a month minimum payments alone. When it's all said and done, you'll be paying $7,627 for that emergency expense, when in reality you only wanted to spend $5,000 to begin with. You didn't have the money, and now you're paying more. Millions of Americans have been laid off from work with no savings to fall back on. Luckily, the entire world is going through the same crisis, so almost every company is understanding of the situation and wants to cushion the fall as much as possible. Some companies are allowing for skip payments, whether it's for auto insurance, car notes, forbearance on your mortgages, or deferment in student loans. In addition to that, the federal government has passed a $2.2 trillion stimulus package, which does include a $1,200 check for those who qualify. Unfortunately, friends, that is not a reoccurring check. That is a one-time check to assist you with your essentials. So what happens when the world goes back to normal and quarantine is over? What happens to those skip payments? Those skip payments have to be made up eventually. Call your provider, let them know what your situation is, and they'll work with you. If your mortgage was $2,000 and you skip 3 months, now you'll owe $6,000 due by the time this is all over. Then you'll continue your payment plan as is. How and where on earth are you getting $6,000 from if you've been out of work for 3 months? That's just insane. If that's not possible, call back after 3 months and they'll put you on a payment plan to pretty much just repay them back. When it's all said and done, the state of the economy is about to put millions of Americans in a never-ending cycle of payback, putting them in the rat race that we have all been trying to avoid. Unfortunately, we're here now, and what can we do to make our situation better? So in your free time, which I happen to know you have because we are all quarantined, take the time to write down your expenses and your income. If your expenses exceeds your income or close to it, maybe it's time to reevaluate your expenses and just take a look at everything that you're spending on. So what can you live without? Write down all those subscriptions you forgot to cancel after the free trial and cancel them, like that gym membership you've been paying and haven't been to in 4 months. If you have Netflix and you don't have cable, great. But do you really need Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus? Cut back a little bit. Next, focus on what's keeping you in debt. Are you paying the minimums on your credit cards, or are you using them a bit more than you need to? Another money-eating culprit, which is our favorite thing to do, is impulsive shopping and living beyond our means. Do you need it? Is it a dire need? If the answer is no, put it down and walk away. Just because it's on sale doesn't mean that you need to buy it. If you had no intentions on buying it, you're not actually saving money. You're spending it. There are so many ways to know if you're living beyond your means. But to sum it up, if you're spending more than you can afford, you're living beyond your means. If you have barely anything left at the end of the month, you're living beyond your means. It's time to cut back. So once your budget is created and you start applying these to your everyday life, you'll start seeing a bit more accumulated in your savings. It's ideal to work towards saving enough funds to have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Calculate all your expenses, which you should have from your budget that you already created, and multiply your total expenses by 3. Then multiply your total expenses by 6. And your goal is to save anywhere between those two numbers. Work on building that. So if you're ever in a position where you find yourself not having an income coming in, you have that bit of a buffer to be able to fall back on in case of an emergency. An emergency fund really just gives you that buffer to be able to still pay your bills on time while looking for another job in that time being. So what exactly is our goal in making these a priority? Our goal is to save enough for a rainy day and save towards what we really want, whether it's a car, a house, college savings, anything. The motivating drive behind any budget is to know why exactly you're saving. What exactly are you saving for? When you figure that out, you realize it's not as hard to really stick to your budget and discipline yourself because you'll always have that why to motivate you. The biggest takeaway in this economic crisis is that our 9 to 5 is actually not as stable of an income as we thought, and literally in a matter of weeks, we can see the economy turn upside down. By putting yourself in a better financial position, you'll find that loss of income is temporarily manageable. So before I let you go, I just want to thank you guys again for tuning in. If you can slam that like button, share it, comment on it, subscribe. There will be more videos. Again, this was my first video ever, so I really do appreciate you guys a lot. See you later. Bye.